Okay, thanks for tuning in. Today in this video, I want to do a quick comparison between the Nighthawk Custom GRP and the Wilson Combat CQB. These are two of, I believe, the most basic models in the product line from each company. They are priced within a few dollars of one another. The specs and the features are nearly identical, being the Nighthawk has a lanyard loop on the mainspring housing. That's the only difference I see between the two. So other than that, they're both safety checked just about 30 seconds before I started this video. And let's see, they're both unfired. They're brand new. Of course, aside from fired in the factory when they were built. And they were both built in 2014. So that's good to know when we're comparing the two. So first, let's look at the finish. This is what Wilson calls the Armor Tough. And this is what Nighthawk calls black nitrate. I don't know how you say that. Anyways, they're pretty similar. I think this looks a little nicer, in my opinion, on the Nighthawk. And this is slightly more matte, just ever so slightly, but they're very similar. Secondly, let's look at the grips. Here we have the starburst pattern. That's what Wilson Combat calls it, with the medallions here. Right here, here's the medallions. This is the starburst grip pattern. I'm gonna go ahead and say it's smooth. Not very grippy at all. Also down here, they've beveled the edge of the grip right there, which is quite nice. And they use the slotted head grip screw. These are machine grip screws, and they are also Armor Tough finish. So I think these grips look excellent. They're extremely comfortable, but they're on the smooth side, so I don't really like the fact that they're that smooth. Let's come over here and look at the Nighthawk. You'll notice these are VZ grips. I'm gonna go ahead and say these are mild, smooth to medium, slightly more grippy than the ones on the Wilson Combat. Notice the bottom is not beveled like the Wilsons. They have a really nice, this comes out really nice on these grips. Their logo here, it looks good, I think. They use the Allen, the small head Allen key grip screws, which in my opinion are awful. I would change these out to slotted ones. I actually bought an extra set of slotted ones from Nighthawk, machined screws. So I'm gonna replace these. I'm not a fan of these. That's just me though. Let's look at the front strap checkering. This is 25 lines per inch on the Nighthawk Custom, and it looks perfect. You can probably see a bunch of my dead skin on there. I didn't use like a brush or a blower to get it off before I started this video. Anyways, this looks flawless. And right up here at the top, there's a nice line right there, and it cleans it up. So the top of the checkering, where it meets the frame right here, the line looks real clean. And again, like I said, it's 25 lines per inch. With the medium grippy texture grips, and then also on the rear back here, they use I have to move this, you can see it better in the light. They use the mainspring housing here is 20 lines per inch. They have a lanyard loop here. And you notice how they beveled the frame right there at that angle right there. Okay, pay attention to that. They've done a pretty good job, I must say. But overall, let's see, we're getting a much better grip on this gun due to the fact that, you know, like I said, the rear mainspring housings, 20 lines per inch. With these grips are more grippy, and the 25 lines per inch. I think this comes out to an overall perfect package. Now, when we look at the Wilson, we got 30 lines per inch here on the front strap checkering, and this just bothers me right here, the top. See, it's not perfect. How the checkering meets the where it stops, the line doesn't look perfect. This is not done by hand. This is done by a machine. And in my opinion, I do not like how that looks. I've handled other Wilsons and they all look like that. I don't know. I think they should put the line on the top like they do on Nighthawk. It's just a small thing, but you know, I pay attention to the details and I want to bring them up in this video. So I don't care for the top of that. I wish it looked cleaner. And 30 lines per inch is a bit too smooth. It kind of correlates with the smooth grips though, to give you an overall smoother feel to the gun here. But also on the back strap or the mainspring housing, it's 30 lines per inch to match the front. And here, if you'll notice, right here, okay, this is beveled more than the Nighthawk. It comes perfectly to, almost perfectly to the edge of the grips. See, check it out over here on the Nighthawk. Not even close. The amount of, I should say the angle that this is beveled at is not as heavy as this. So this kind of rounds out and feels more smooth and comfortable in the hand. But that said, if you're looking for a smoother handling gun, I would choose this one. But I like the way this feels in my hand better, in my opinion. Okay, moving on to the frame. Basically, there's not many differences that I can see. One notable one that I noticed is this here. How this is cut or blended down here to the trigger. It's just, notice it's all smooth radius in one nice angle cut down to the trigger. Over here we've got this extra little bit of metal here, so it doesn't come out quite as smooth. You can see it right there. That's mainly the only difference I can see between the two on the frames. So I think this feels better when you're handling it and your trigger finger comes around in here. It just smoothly rolls right down to the trigger. It's not like you can notice that little notch, but it just, I don't know. I like this better. It's smoother in my opinion. The slide stop is flush cut, and in the frame it's like reverse crown. I think that's how they say it. So I think this looks better. I think this looks a lot better. This is just, you know, standard. And this is just the way they came out of the box. I didn't have any modifications done to these. So, other than that, you know, they both have front cocking serrations. And the GRP has more front cocking serrations. The CQB has a few less. See, they don't come back quite as far. I think this looks better. The CQB has much smaller markings on the slide, and it says Wilson right there, and also on the sights. And overall, it just looks cleaner and smoother, in my opinion. Over here, we have excess front cocking serrations. We have this huge GRP. Yeah, and then flip it over, you got big old Nighthawk logo there, which I think is pretty cool. I just don't really care for the GRP part. Excuse me. Let me clear my throat. Yeah, so over here we have just Wilson Combat. So I think this just looks a little smoother overall. When we look at the controls and such on the side, they're more low profile on the Wilson Combat, meaning they don't stick out quite as far. The slide stop, just a little more flush with the frame, and the safety. They just don't stick out very much. And they're really nicely beveled out. Like if you run your hand across here, it's very smooth. Over here, we have, this is extended out further than on the Wilson, and so is this, the slide stop and the safety. And the actual actuation requires a little bit more force on this. It's a little stiffer. I like this better, in my opinion. And I like this better because it sticks out a little bit more than this one. This feels really good, very like tactile, but it's just a little light for me, you know? The Nighthawk's a little heavier, and it takes a little more force to actuate. And I have another Nighthawk, and it feels exactly like this. And I have shot it a lot, so you know, sometimes they loosen up when you break them in, but my other Nighthawk still feels exactly the same as this. So yeah, I kind of like the controls here better on the Nighthawk. And they both have like an extended magazine release right there. It's quite, see how far it sticks out? That's definitely extended. So is this one. Maybe not quite as far as the Nighthawk, but almost the same. But it has a scoop in the grips to help get your finger over there. You know, let's talk about the front barrel bushing. This one has a full-length guide rod. That's why it looks like that. That's the only difference between the guns that I forgot to mention in the beginning of the video. The barrel bushing looks a little tiny bit better on the Wilson, in my opinion. Right here where it meets the cap, the recoil spring cap, it looks like it was finished out a little bit nicer right there on the bottom, in my opinion, versus this one. Not that it looks bad, but just right there, it's a little more rough right there. I mean, it's beveled all along here. Let's talk about just how well it's beveled overall. Like here, along here, it's a little rough. And along here, it's nicely beveled. All this is all beveled out. And the rear, the slide, and the frame down here. This one on the Wilson, it's done a little more. It's beveled out slightly more, like right along here. It's nice. It's not rough like on the Nighthawk. Right down here, it's beveled a little more than on the Nighthawk. And like I already showed you back here on this angle, it's more. And this is slightly more here than this. All the edges on this are slightly more beveled on the Wilson. Overall, it's just a little bit smoother if you're going to be running your hands around here. If you're going to be carrying the gun, those are some things you might appreciate. So, oh yeah, another difference is the fact that this one has a Ed Brown grip safety, beaver tail. Excuse me. In my opinion, that's the best. Excuse me. The best beaver tail grip safety ever made for a 1911. So, Nighthawk did not try to, you know, make their own proprietary one. They just went with the best one on the market, which I think was a good idea because I like that better. Not that this is bad by any means. See the way it's cut, it's definitely a different piece. This is the Wilson proprietary one. I don't know, I just definitely like the way this one feels better in the hand. I can get a higher grip on it, slightly. Yeah, let's look at the trigger. This is the, you know, proprietary Nighthawk kind of signature design. Looks pretty cool. I like it. Over here, just got the standard 3-hole. Of course, it's painted black on the CQB. It looks quite nice. Yeah, so see how the trigger feels and the sights look. This one has a green fiber optic sight and a Wilson Combat Battle sight. It's about 3.5 pounds. So they say, and that's what it feels like. This one has 3-dot night sights. I want to change it to straight 8 Heine, but anyways, that's what it came with. Trigger feels like 1/2 pound heavier on this. Say if this is 3.5. Say if this is 3 to 3.5, I'd say this is 3.5 to 4 pounds. It's a little more crispy feeling on the Hawk. When you rack the slide, this gun feels slightly smoother than this. They're both excellent though. So overall, I mean, they're basically the same gun. It's just like, if you want slightly more grippier grips, I would say get this. And if you want a little smoother grips, get this. Oh yeah, one other thing. The way that this is beveled in the magazine well, so you see it right there, that's a lot. It's done very well. Over here, I'm not really happy with this. It's like barely at all beveled. The amount, come on, focus. The amount that's beveled is like not much at all. Unfortunately. This thing's beveled like twice as much. But that kind of follows through with most of the other beveled edges on the gun in various other places. But overall, this is actually, you know, like having these angles beveled is just more or less so it doesn't catch and snag and feel smoother. But this is quite functional, of course, for helping funnel in the mag when you're doing mag changes. So I'll give props to Wilson for that. But I mean, overall, you know, very similar, very comparable guns. Price, very similar. If I had to take my pick between the two, I've never fired either one. Sorry, I'm going with the Nighthawk on this one. But until I've shot both, you know, maybe my mind will change. But until now, I just wanted to give you guys a close-up look and a quick comparison between the two, Nighthawk Custom and Wilson Combat. These are two of the mainstays in the product line. Both these guns are about, you know, little below $3,000. That's the price. Their price is listed on their price set on their websites, $2,900 range. So if you're looking for a semi-custom 1911, maybe you're looking at one of these two, and I hope this video maybe helped you decide between the two, show you some small differences that mean a lot to me. You know, frame and slide to fit, it's super tight on both. They're both tight out of the box. Triggers are the same. I mean, feel the same. They're just very, very similar. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. Check back soon, more videos. Do Les Bear versus Ed Brown, and you know, a few other ones. Nighthawk Falcon review coming soon. Putting a lot of rounds through it. So this is just more of a up close look not a review because I haven't shot either one of these guns. But again, thanks for watching, and check back soon, and peace out.